Hello, I'm Janet.
I'm Amber.
And we are two girls and a bottle of wine.
Because men like booze.
And girls like wine. We're back. Here we are.
Hi.
It's St. Patrick's Day.
I know. You are all greened out, too.
Yeah. So I put these on, and I wasn't on any video calls today. But I was like, I want to feel festive. Because St. Patrick's Day, I have a lot of great memories with friends and stuff on this day. And then I look at my Facebook, and 2 years ago, I was wearing the same exact outfit.
That's awesome.
I'm like, I don't own a lot of green.
That is hilarious.
I don't get rid of clothes.
I only had a little green, top hat that I was wearing at work for a little bit, but it still kept, falling off, so I didn't really wear it a whole lot today.
Yeah. Yeah, well, happy St. Patrick's Day, and I think in the last podcast, you shared with us that this day last year was the last day of normalcy before the shutdown.
Yes, it was. We were actually reminiscing a little bit about it at work today about how right around this time, I think it might have been just a couple days before, but within this timeline, we had gotten the email that basically said GTFO, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
We don't need you. And so, but yeah, this was the last day where there was not quarantine. And so when I started looking back at my archived memories from Instagram, we had actually recorded our last in-person podcast a week ago, yesterday, I think, or a week ago today or something like that. But it was March.
A year ago, a week ago?
Yeah. Yes.
So much.
It was March 11th or something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, it was crazy because it was showing, I had a little thing from our Instagram where I was opening up the wine, and that was our last in-person thing. And so, it's just craziness.
I miss you guys.
I know. I was talking at work too, but even thinking about it today, in the beginning, I feel once we all kind of got into the quarantine, we started to think about how much we miss people. And so I still miss people, but at the same time, we've almost become complacent with not seeing people. And so even at work, you're trying so hard to stay away from people that now trying to come together and not working, you've almost set yourself up in a silo. Mm-hmm. And so now you're trying to figure out how to come back together. And if there's this time where the mandatory mask thing might be lifted, I'm scared. It's just the weirdest thing trying to figure it all out. But I miss people, but at the same time, it's still just this uncomfortableness.
Are the masks going to be lifted in Colorado?
So I don't know. The mandatory thing is only up until April 1st. But I think a lot of people think that Jared Polis will lift it. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I find it's taking a lot more energy to do the things that were just normal a year ago.
Yeah.
When I have things planned with friends, I'm just oh. Or having to go into the office. I'm only having to go in 2 days a week right now. And I'm what is this going to look like when they make us come back 5 days a week? I don't know how my life will get back to the way I know. I didn't sleep as much, and I felt like I didn't have as much mental me time, and it's tough. We had a snowstorm this last weekend, and I was perfectly content being
oh, me too.
Everyone, there were two people I had plans with. You guys, snowstorm, gonna stay in.
Yeah.
We'll reschedule. And I felt completely fine with that because I'm not an extrovert. I'm an introvert. And I understand the value of relationships, but it takes a lot for me to put in the work. Does that sound horribly selfish?
I don't think it sounds horrible. I mean, I think when you think about it, it's just everything that we're doing, it's not the same necessarily, but I think about even just trying to be, you got to think about, and as not that men don't think about this, but I feel as a woman, women tend to think about this more. We have to, drink so much water and throughout the day. We have to try and get our 8 hours of sleep. We have to exercise. And as we get older, we have to exercise for longer, for more days a week, because our metabolism just isn't there. And then, you got to watch your alcohol intake, and you got to eat all the right things, but you never know what's the right things. Then you're supposed to drink green tea throughout the day, and you're supposed to do all these things. And then you want a massage. Then you have to go to work, and you got to be your work person. And then, if you're married or you have kids or whatever that is, like your mom, you're all of these things. And then I love my friends, but then you're also trying to be a friend and make sure that you're catching up with everybody. Trying to stay on top of everything is very challenging sometimes. I wish that I could talk to all my friends every day, but there just isn't enough time.
Right.
And it's hard to do all the things and also take time for yourself. Mm-hmm. So I think this is why some of the quarantine has been kind of good for a lot of people, is because they've learned to be alone, or they've learned how to take care of themselves. They've learned what they need and what they want out of life. And so it's just been interesting.
Yeah. My extroverted friends, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so ready. I'm ready. And I'm like, oh. And I think people have a misconception about me because they see me active on social media. That's not showing that I'm an extrovert. It's just me posting pictures,
Yeah.
And I try and explain it to my close friends, but I don't think anyone really gets it. I probably have a couple friends that get it. But yeah, I love my friend time, but it takes a lot for me to, I never cancel. Once I say I'm going to be somewhere, I'm going to be there. It takes me a lot. I have to plan. I can't pile everything on because then I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
And so like when my friends are like, hey, when can we get together? And I'm like, hey, when are you available in April? They're like, what? I'm like, I need me time. Like, and I have a new puppy. So I got things to do.
I know. And then my thing is that like, sometimes when I see your photos and stuff, when like before COVID days, it exhausted me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was like, I don't know how she does it. And so now like I just miss going and like sitting in a friend's house, like, and just having a drink and not feeling like I need to be 6 feet, or do I wear a mask? Do I not wear a mask? What are the risks that I'm taking? Like, I think there's just so many questions. And even though I have my vaccine, I still have some immunocompromisation going on. Like, I'm still in at-risk category, but I also worry about, could I carry something and give it to somebody who doesn't have the vaccine? And there's just all these things. Like, I just want to go to somebody's house and I just want to sit there and like have a drink and just not worry about all of it. Like, I miss just randomly flying to Wisconsin.
Right.
And seeing, Mama Kim and Regan and Nick, and just like sitting there, like just sitting in their house on a random Saturday, Sunday night and just like hanging out with one another. So those are the things that I miss, but it's getting hard to see.
I feel like I can't visualize what it looks like because that overwhelms me. I just got to take it day by day and moment by moment. Over the last couple months, I've been pretty open. I'll go out to dinner, and I know that that's not what you've been as prone to do. Everyone's different. I love the masks. I think they're great, but I have been like going out to dinner and doing things with friends, and it's fantastic. It's just overwhelming when I think about it. Yeah,
I know.
And I got a new dog.
I was going to say, but you have a new puppy.
Yes. He's actually a 1-year-old, but he has lived in his cage the entire life that he's had. And so it's like a puppy, but not. Does that make sense? Like, he knows nothing. We have these little dog stairs, and he can go up one, and they're the same exact set of stairs, but one is downstairs and one is up in the bedroom. He can go flying up one, can't go down. The same exact stairs up in the bedroom. He's like, no. I'm like, what? And And with the snow, potty training went from like maybe a 2 on a scale of 10 to 0 because he's a little guy. He's 8 pounds. He was
definitely not going to see above the snow.
No. So, yeah, I love him to death. His name is Rip, and he's a Shih Tzu, and I just love him. We've had him for a week and a half.
And why did you guys choose Rip again?
From Yellowstone.
That's right.
The bad guy on the good team, his name is Rip.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's very cute, though.
He's going to the vet for a checkup tomorrow and get his shot so we can get him groomed because Shih Tzus have to be groomed on a regular.
They do. Yes.
But he is fantastic. Fantastic. I love him. It feels like our family is whole again.
Very nice.
Yeah. What's been going on in your world?
I don't know. I mean, we had the snowstorm this weekend. I feel like there was something that I was going to say that I done, but I haven't really done anything exciting. I just, like you said, I'm just hanging out. I just go to work and I come home.
Your husband shoveled for you.
He did, yes. We thought that I was going to have to go into work on Sunday night. So he went out and shoveled the 3.5-ish feet of snow that we had in our driveway. He did it pretty quickly too. It was under 40 minutes.
That's crazy.
He had that. I know, because he was worried that I was going to have to go. And so, because I had been on the phone for a couple hours as we were trying to figure out who was going to work in our processing area in the lab, because we had people spending the night. So people were spending the night in our lab, just sleeping in people's offices and in our library on Saturday night and Sunday night. And there was one individual who had been there since 6 a.m. and she was the only person in this one department. And so we were all trying to figure out what we needed to do. And myself and her manager happened to both live up this way. And so we thought that I was going to have to go and get her manager and bring him in, and then we would both just work overnight. But he ended up taking his wife's car. And so he went in that night, and then I went in on Monday as we tried to coordinate, and it was insane. It was just craziness.
Yeah. I didn't leave the house until this morning. Yeah. So from Friday until this is Wednesday morning, I just stayed home. I shoveled on Monday afternoon. Oh my gosh, I'm so sore.
Yeah.
I am so sore. And I did not get everything. In fact, when I tried to pull out of the driveway, I got stuck. Thankfully, I had a neighbor with a snowblower, and he did what I could not. But my whole body, I was like, I'm done. I can't do any more. And Steve was out of town. He got stuck in Alabama because all the flights got canceled on Monday. So it was just me. And I've never shoveled snow in my life, ever. And now I'm like, we must invest in a snowblower. Steve's like, okay, we'll wait till the spring and look at Facebook Marketplace for people that are moving to a warmer climate and try and get a deal. I don't know.
Yeah, I was never so happy to have a 4Runner in my entire life.
Why a four-wheel drive?
But my 4Runner is lifted up.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit higher, so I can get kind of through. And so on Monday, when we realized that we were in a whole bunch of staffing crises, I had planned on working from home, but I ended up having to drive to Brighton from my house, which was a 35-minute drive. And then I had to pick up this girl, Lily, and take her to our North Campus site. And when I got to her neighborhood, there was 5 feet of snow. And I was like, huh, okay. Thanks. So, because the roads when I started driving actually weren't bad. It started melting pretty quickly once the sun came out. But the neighborhoods were just slammed with snow, especially in Brighton. They got 5 feet. It was insane. And so she gets in the car and she's like, so I think it's going to be easiest if we back out. And I was like, yeah, we're not backing out of anywhere. We're just going to drive forward and figure it out. And let me tell you, between the 4Runner and my Wisconsin roots, we made it through just fine.
Yeah, I guess you're used to this, huh?
Yeah, she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you're driving." She's like holding on because we're just like going over like mounds of snow and like maneuvering around the stuck cars. It was like a little like thing, and it was insane.
Yeah, it was a good weekend to stay in until you had to go out. Thankfully, my office was closed on Monday, and Tuesday the office was open, but they're like, the roads aren't great, so you do you. And I'm like, I do me at home. But I went to Cycle Bar for the first time in 5 days this morning, and it was really hard. And they're having a like a March Madness bracket thing.
Oh.
Where you're pinned against someone, and whoever attends the most classes that week moves on. So now I'm like doubling up, like tomorrow and Friday, because I have no time on Saturday or Sunday to. Yeah,
that's hilarious.
That's where my competitive streak comes out. What are you drinking?
So I am drinking cupcake rosé out of a can.
Nice.
I love can options.
They're very.
It's just enough for one glass.
I am drinking Verdi. It's like a sparkling wine. It's sweet. It's super light. Yeah.
Very nice.
I thought the bottle was greenish, so I thought that would work. Yeah?
Oh, yeah. It did look like it was a little green. Over the weekend, I had this amazing Chianti, and I learned. So I sent an image of the wine label to one of my coworkers because he always shares his wine recommendations for me, but I never share mine. So he was like, oh, so he responds, and he's like, did you find is there a black cock on it? And I was like, what? So apparently, you know that it is a real Chianti wine if it has a little black rooster on it.
Ah, did yours?
Yep, it did.
Oh.
It was right on the label on the little neck of the bottle.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I learned that fun fact.
Was it expensive?
I think it was like $22.
Okay, not bad.
But yeah, it had a picture of a bird on the front, like a yellow bird.
A yellow bird. How was your dog sitting?
It wasn't very pretty.
How was your dog sitting? I saw the pictures.
That puppy, he was so good. He was like the best puppy in the world. We had him from Friday to Sunday night, and he did not make a mess once in our house. And he slept in my bed, and he never once went to the bathroom. And he was only like 3 months old.
Wow.
And yeah, he always went outside, and like he would cry when he needed something. And he woke up every morning at like 5 o'clock and like would just cuddle with you.
Aww.
It was adorable. I loved him. He was so much fun. I did not want him to go. Piper was very happy he was leaving.
She's like, wait.
She was pretty pissed.
I'm not this well behaved, and I don't want to get there. So get this kiss up out of the house.
Like on Friday night, she was like, okay, this is like a playmate. That's fine. And then on Saturday morning, she was like, oh, this bitch is still here. Oh, she was pissed. So when she was finally starting to like settle into the fact that he was probably going to stay for a while. And then he went home and she was super excited.
Awesome. How was the dog's parent? Because remember, he was a little hesitant to leave him. And
yeah, we became friends on Snapchat. And I just sent him videos like because he, of course, was trying to get Nick to send him videos. And so he was messaging Nick on Friday, which was the day he left. And he was like, how is he? How's Henry? I don't have any pictures. Send me pictures. So we became friends on Snapchat, and now he still sends me videos. So I got to see all the videos of Henry playing in the snow this weekend.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yay. Well, The Masked Singer came back. Did you watch it?
Yes, I didn't. So I don't remember. Was it on this week already?
No, it's on tomorrow.
I watched the first week. Okay. Oh, I did watch the first one. It was amazing. I loved it.
All right. So I didn't take notes, but I grabbed.
Yeah, I didn't take notes either.
Yeah. So it's season 5. Yeah.
Yes.
And do you have any thoughts about it? The snail was eliminated and unmasked. And it was...
Which I loved
so
the unmasking.
Surprising.
Because when the snail came out, they did say, they were like, oh, he's kind of giving off this like Kermit the Frog-esque like feel. And so, you know, he takes off his head and there's like nobody in it. And so the one lady whose name I forgot, because they had to replace, what's his name? Nick Cannon, because he got COVID a week before they started filming.
Oh.
And so she like pops into the thing to try and look, and she's like, something's moving, and out pops Kermit the Frog.
Right.
And it was the best reveal ever. I was so excited. It was great. And he was making all the jokes and saying that Miss Piggy was never going to let him live it down. And so good.
So
I loved it.
I guess it's actually on tonight. Sorry. I was
okay.
wrong.
I was like, I think it's on Wednesdays, but I didn't know if they moved it.
Yeah. It catches on my DVR, and I didn't even... I was like, oh, hey, look, another season. We didn't talk about that. So it looks like it's going to be fun.
Yeah. I do hope that the raccoon goes home tonight. I do see that that was indicated as a tweet in this one article that you found where somebody was saying, all right, who voted to keep the raccoon over the snail? Because no. The raccoon sounded horrible.
Right. But don't you think the snail, like, they made it so the snail would go first? Because, you know, just because they knew that would be a great thing that people would be talking about, like Kermit the Frog was the snail. Oh my gosh. But that's not something you can sustain, you know?
Yeah, this is very true.
Yeah.
And I would also like to point out that the surviving members of Group A that include the Russian dolls, it says snail, but they're not surviving.
Right.
The seashell, robopine, and raccoon. The Russian dolls, I don't know if we know this fun little tidbit about little Mr. Nicholas Rodriguez, but not only does he hate nutcrackers, he hates Russian dolls. It creeps him out.
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. So did he watch the show with you?
No, he didn't watch it. I watched it by myself.
So I guess tonight...
So he never actually saw them.
Tonight will be Group B. And that looks like it's going to be a chameleon, a black swan, a grandpa monster, a phoenix, and a piglet. I'm excited for the piglet. That just sounds cute.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Yeah. So we shall see, but it's back, and we didn't talk about it, and I was like, I wonder if she's going to watch this. So I went ahead and watched it this weekend, because what else I had to do? I had snow. And, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. I completely forgot that it was going to be on, and so I was very excited when I remembered, and it had already recorded.
I hope Ashley can join us again soon, because she is so sleuthy when it comes to The Masked Singer.
I know.
I haven't a clue.
Right? Yeah. I can read those clues all day long, and I would not have any idea who to look for.
No. That's why she and Pat should do The Amazing Race.
Yes.
Did you watch the Grammys?
No.
So I did. Steve was gone again. So I was able to watch the Grammys and the Bachelor and Masked Singer and all the Janet shows. And I like the Grammys because it's the one time a year where it gives me like exposure to other genres of music outside of what I love. And
That's nice, though.
I really did like it. And Beyonce made history because she won her 28th Grammy. Like, I think she's the most winningest person ever at the Grammys.
Well, didn't she like make some kind of like surprise appearance or something that like everybody freaked out about?
Not that I was aware of. What are you talking about?
Because I saw a bunch of memes about her making an appearance and how everybody was shocked and Beyonce just like won everybody over. So I thought she like randomly made an appearance and it wasn't like they didn't know she was going to make an appearance.
She and Megan the Stallion, is that it? Or Megan 3 Stallion? I don't even know.
don't know
Megan
either.
won an award, and then all of a sudden I look up and Beyonce was on the stage, so maybe that was a surprise, but I guess that they collaborated on the song.
I see.
Yes. And then, have you gotten into Mickey Guyton?
She's the singer, correct?
Yes. Because I remember we were
listened.
talking about a song, like a song show, maybe about almost a year ago. And you were like, Mickey Guyton, I don't know who that is. And I was like, you must check her out. Like her song, Black Like Me, it shakes you. Like it is so good.
So when you told me that, like I did download her music, but it's not on my top listening ones. Mm-hmm. But I do like some of her music. It's just none of it really is sticking out for me right now.
Got it. Well, she made history as the first Black solo female artist to earn a Grammy nomination in a country music category. So I was just, and I think she had a baby like a few weeks ago. And she was walking the red carpet, looked fantastic. So
Sweet.
If you haven't listened to Mickey Guyton and you're listening to our podcast, you really should.
She is very good.
Also, Miranda Lambert won a Grammy, and it was fantastic. The WAP song.
Yes.
It was performed. I thought that was shocking. It was on ABC or CBS. It was on network, and they performed WAP.
All right, then.
Yeah. And on this big giant bed. It was...
Of course.
It was interesting. Who's the artist that does that? What, Nicki? No, not Nicki Minaj. Is it Nicki Minaj? No. It's the other one.
I don't know.
Well, come on, Amber. You're supposed to be like up to date with things. I'm the older one.
You're by a year.
All right.
Oh, that's okay. Did you happen
Cardi B.
Oh, it's Cardi B.
With Megan Thee Stallion. Yes. Did I happen to what?
Yeah. See, when I had posted on Instagram earlier this week that I had to explain long distance learning or long distance calling, and I thought I was going to die.
Yes, that made us all feel very old. How old was this person that you were having to explain this to?
23.
That's sad. That's sad.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
Yeah. Bachelor Nation news. Chris Harrison will not be returning to host. Well, I think the next article I've posted probably comes after we start talking about the Bachelorette or the Bachelor, right? So he's not going to return to host the Bachelorette. But he's going to be replaced by two faves, Tayshia and Caitlin. I'm so excited.
Right? I know. It is very exciting. I still am having a hard time. I feel for Chris Harrison, I think. But I'm very excited that Tayshia Adams and Caitlin Bristow will be the new co-hosts or hosts of The Bachelorette.
Can you believe all the crap she has kind of like thrown back at the Bachelor franchise?
Right?
But she is a fan favorite. I was
thinking about that too.
She is a fan favorite. She has a following. She is fierce.
Well, and she's been very open and honest too about how she's grown and how like she was very angry in the beginning and she's kind of come on the other side of that. And so she's really been open and honest about that. So I'm very excited for her.
I am. She dyed her hair brown.
She did.
That was shocking to me. I was like, oh, back to like her Bachelorette days. And now I'm like, was this why?
Right,
she was always saying her hair was falling out. So maybe she realized overprocessing was not helping her case. I don't know. She didn't tell me. But I was very excited about that. Any other Bachelor Nation news? Outside of what we're going to jump into when it comes to the Bachelor finale.
Right. I don't think there's been really much else going on in Bachelor Nation news, or at least, I mean, obviously we don't remember it, so it can't be super big. If that's the case. I mean, I know that I don't have any real information, but I've heard bits and pieces about Kelly and Peter meeting back up again. And then I also heard about Claire and what's his face?
Dale?
Yeah, that guy. Meeting up and like talking but I don't follow any of those people either, so.
Pete was a guest on Blake's podcast this morning, Blake Horseman.
Oh, okay.
And he said he's very single. Single.
Oh. You know, I saw some little bits and pieces of somebody sharing some of Blake's podcast, but only because you're bringing this up. It's kind of random. But the other day I was at work and Nick sends me a text message and he's like, since when does Ben Higgins have a book? And I was like, what?
And why do you know about this?
Right. I
thought Nick listened to our podcast. He lies.
Right, I know. Right. I was like, well, first of all, lots of people in Bachelor Nation have a book.
Pete's about to have a book.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, everybody has a book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They have a book of some kind talking about their experiences, blah, blah, blah. I was like, but also, why do you know this? And I guess somebody at work was talking about it or something. I forget the story, but he somehow like came across it. And I was like, do you even know who Ben Higgins is? But yeah, he clearly doesn't listen to our podcast because we've talked about it.
You need to call him on
and he's told me to
that.
read it. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're kind of calling him on it right now.
But he doesn't listen, obviously.
I know. What an ass.
He was our only one true listener. No, we have more numbers, but no one else interacts with us.
So my girlfriend Tiff, who works at the lab with me, she listens every week. And so, because she messaged me last week while she was listening to it. So she'll message me with like little quirks of something that we've said. And so she messaged about how I was talking about how I thought that dead bodies were going to come flying out of the air when the plane exploded.
Oh my. So, you really need to share these with me. It makes me feel good. I see that people listen when it comes to the numbers, but no one interacts with us.
I know. I forgot.
My girlfriend Laurel listens, and she's not a Bachelor fan, but she's like, I still listen. So, Laurel, if you're listening, hi.
Yeah. And hi, Tiff. Let's say hi to Tiff. She's our fave. She's our fave person.
We don't charge anything. It's free. It's fun. Clean your house. Right? Listen to our voices. They're not that annoying.
We're hilarious.
We are. Especially when we drink too much. Not tonight, though. Yeah, it's a Wednesday.
Not tonight.
All right. Ready to jump in to what we've missed the last 2 weeks of The Bachelor?
Yeah. I did not take notes, which I will explain, but I did watch.
You started off so strong. You bought a new computer.
I know. Well, this is not a good defense by any means. But in my defense, so I waited. I didn't watch last week's episode until Monday night. So I watched last week's episode and then I watched this week's episode all on the same night. Because I'm a fast forward queen.
Wasn't that 5 hours?
I don't know, but I'm telling you, I didn't do it in 5.
Oh my. That would be overwhelming to me. Okay.
So, but I also ended up working from home, and I had to do this really annoying task where I had to apply a provider to 900 accounts. And let me tell you, that is not an easy task. It's in a system. I have to put them in, press submit, go, it was a whole thing. So I did that while I was watching The Bachelor. But also I have grown differing opinions regarding The Bachelor season. And I was not that excited for these episodes, to be honest.
Got it.
I had a feeling that I knew which way things were going to go. And I also feel like I've thought a lot about this Bachelor season, and it's been weighing very heavily on me and recently. And I wasn't thrilled. I wasn't excited to be watching it. I was curious, but I was also, there's just been so much packed into this and so much controversy. So I did not take notes, but I do know what happened.
All right. So we start, last week was Fantasy Suites, where we had Michelle, Bree, and Rachel. But first, Matt meets up with his father.
Yeah, that was That was rough to watch, to be honest, in the beginning.
Yes, very rough. And we are reminded that Matt guards his heart because of his father. And that's why he has said he hasn't truly loved anybody.
And, I mean, I really appreciate that Matt went in there and really addressed everything. And I think that it was the first time that we were really, truly seeing something of Matt. We were seeing a little bit of who he is and where he stands and what his struggles are. And I appreciated that he called his dad out for everything, and he handled his dad's outbursts very well, I think.
Yes. Things got really heated. And his father really didn't seem to understand why he was there. He thought he was there to celebrate Matt, and he seemed very caught off guard, which that's true Bachelor Nation style, right?
Yeah, it was, I mean, even I was shocked when I saw him and the conversations that they started having about all the things that happened when he was a child. And, you know, his dad was trying to kind of pass off the blame. And I could understand what he was trying to say, but it just was not coming out right.
No, and I think Matt had a fantastic line when he responded to his father by saying, if you wanted to celebrate, we could go to Chuck E. Cheese.
I know.
Matt has done that a few times this season, and I just freaking love it. Like, what did he say? When is it an appropriate time to call someone a hoe?
Yeah, right?
I just love his sarcasm. It's very dry.
Yes, it is.
But their conversation concludes with his dad apologizing.
Yeah, they did end up ending it on mutual ground, I guess you could say, civilly.
Yes. And then we jump into Michelle's date, which is a spa date that consists of oatmeal, butter, and milk.
Yeah, it was weird.
Have you ever been to a spa where you had to rub butter on yourself?
No, but I was also confused because I didn't even realize that they knew what they were supposed to do. Like, there was nobody in there with them. And so it was just like, oh, we're going to go in this. And like, I'm going to rub you with butter.
See, I feel like that has been the theme this season. They're cutting so much out.
They really are. They're cutting a lot.
Are they? Did we have longer episodes previously? Like,
you know, we should probably look back at the Bachelor Instagram that does the data. Mm-hmm. I know the woman who does it, she's only been doing it like the last year or so, but she does often compare prior seasons. And I do think that there might actually be more commercials this round, or they have been spending more time, which I think is something that I've been thinking a lot about, is they have been spending more time on the areas that cause more controversy and arguments, as opposed to us really seeing a lot. So there's been articles talking about how we don't really know much about Matt. Well, it's probably because they've cut out a lot of that. And there's so much we don't see.
You know, the data girl was stuck in Colorado due to the storm. Did you see that on her story? Yeah.
No.
I think it was Monday. She posted on her story. She's like, sorry, stuck in Colorado due to a big snowstorm. Boyfriend broke his hand, so we just went to the hospital. So Data's going to be late. And I was like, you're here? Like she's famous to me all of a sudden. I wouldn't know her walking down the street, but her Data, I know. Yeah, so they've definitely cut out a lot of stuff. And Matt does admit to being the most comfortable with Michelle and her family. And she explains that her parents and their long relationship is her model for her expectations. He knows what he should do.
He does. I love Michelle.
Me too. I told you, remember when she went at the hometown and he told her father, if I choose her, I'll move to Minnesota. I'm like, he's not going to choose her. He's not going to move to Minnesota. You don't go from New York City to Minnesota.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Anyway, sorry. Very passionate about that. And then at dinner, Matt opens about his conversation with his father.
He
Michelle
gets a gift?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because on their first one-on-one date or whatever, he got her a basketball jersey or some kind of jersey saying Mrs. Whatever his last name is. I'm forgetting.
You're on the wrong episode.
Yeah, but then she gives him that episode or that
That's this week's episode.
Oh, for the love of Pete.
See what happens when you watch both episodes in one night.
Yeah, sorry.
We'll get there. I promise. I'm like, did I miss a gift? I was just like, okay, go on.
Yeah, nope, sorry.
Oh, Michelle really commits to Matt and says that she wants to spend the rest of her life with him. And Matt just kind of goes, and pulls the fantasy suite card. And in the suite, she says she loves him. And then he kisses her. Doesn't really say anything back.
Yep. And then they wake up in the morning and we at least get to see their morning, which I'm only bringing that up because of later.
Right.
So, but we do get to see their morning after.
Mm-hmm. And then she goes back to meet with the other women. I really hate that they're all staying together again. They keep doing that. And I think it's so awkward.
It really is. And it's so hard. I mean, you can just see it all over their faces. And Rachel is having the hardest time with it. And it's just uncomfortable. And then you know that she spent the night. So, like, it's just awkward.
Right. You can't compare notes.
No. I think that's frowned upon.
Yeah. And then you have Bree's date where they go hiking in the woods. And Matt kind of jokes that that's their fantasy suite, but thankfully it is not.
Yeah, I was a little concerned.
And then we go to dinner, and Matt again shares about his conversation with his dad, and she says that she's in love with Matt. He also says that he could see this woman as his wife. And they head to the fantasy suite.
Yep.
That's all I have.
And we also see them in the morning. We see them wake up with each other. They do cook breakfast. It's very cute.
Yes. And then we get to Rachel. She's stressing. Yeah. She is flipping out because she hates that he has been with these other women and she knows it.
Yeah. I mean, and she's like the last one. So, you know, sloppy thirds.
It's kind of gross to think about.
Yeah, a little bit.
And they go to a ceramic class where there's a lot of sexual innuendos. I was like, Amber
Rachel
loves this. Yes, she is struggling.
Yeah, except for I fast forwarded through most of it.
Oh, yeah. I feel like this is a date you would have loved because the putting the fingers in the hole and sliding. It was like,
putting the fingers in the hole.
Yes, I swear they said that. I'm like, Amber's dying right now, but I never know when you're watching.
I fast forwarded through most of the episodes or most of the dates.
Dang it. Okay.
And especially because Rachel was having such a hard time, like she wasn't enjoying it. It was like painful to watch because she just should have had a conversation before they walked in there. And like Matt's trying to make it fun and she's just like ruining her little pot thing. And it just wasn't going well. It was hard. I fast forwarded.
And afterwards, she admits that the week had been really hard. And he tells her that the parachute accident that she had really scared him and made him think, what would his life be like without her? And she says...
Yeah, he went real deep.
Yeah, very deep. And then she says that she loves him.
Yep.
And then we go to dinner, and again, he mentions his dad's conversation, and she reassures him that he is his own person. And I feel like he reacted to that very strongly. Like, he was like, yeah, this is what I needed to hear.
Yeah.
They prepare for the fantasy suites, and there's fireworks. And I'm like, well, that's not a sign.
Yeah. How come they got fireworks? I was like, really? Nobody else got fireworks?
Right.
Weird. Or we just didn't see it because they cut it.
Probably not.
And
3
you know
sets
what else?
Of fireworks?
Yeah.
What else?
And they cut the morning after.
Right.
We didn't get to see it.
They went to fantasy suite and then nothing.
Why didn't we get to see it? What happened?
Right.
I want to know.
I need answers, Bachelor.
Did they end up just, like, staying together the rest of the day? Like, just laying in bed doing it? Like, what happened?
And then we get to the rose ceremony where Bree is sent home.
Ugh,
and I wrote, I want him to choose Michelle, but I feel it might be Rachel. Did I cut out?
Yeah, I was like...
Yeah, so I'm FaceTiming and someone was trying to call. Did you hear me, what I said?
I heard most of it.
Okay, I said I wanted him to choose
him to pick
Michelle, but I think it might be Rachel.
Yeah.
So then we get to this week's finale and after the final rose.
Yep.
So Rachel and Michelle are the final two. They each meet Matt's brother and mother.
Yes, they do.
His mom seems to be very impressed by both women, but she flips the Bachelor season on its head by warning Matt that love isn't the end-all be-all. And warns him based on her experience with his father, and we already know his father is an issue in his, like, mental state.
Yeah,
It's wise advice, but it sends him into a spiral.
Right. Like, maybe she could have given him that advice, I don't know, before he went on.
Right. I don't think she thought he was going to actually fall for anyone. And then she freaked out when he did.
Yeah. But his brother was really good. Like, his brother asked good questions. And
I kept thinking, is he being fed these questions?
I know, right? He could have
been.
They
were too good.
Yeah, they were really good.
But maybe his brother is that sharp. I don't know his brother. But, like, if I think of my brother, he wouldn't be like that.
Yeah. No.
So then Matt meets with Chris Harrison and says he's starting to pump the brakes. You're down to final two, buddy, and you're going to pump the brakes. Okay.
I know. Well, and, you know, Chris tries to do a good job, too, about being like, are you sure? He's like, so I think he said it a little off kilter, but he was like, so you just hear your mom say this, and now all of a sudden, like, because somebody said this, you're feeling differently? Like, this is a completely different person than who you were 1 week ago. Like, this is a dramatic twist. And so, and I feel like Matt got a little defensive with it, which I can see why he did, but that's also Chris's job. And to his point, like, you had one conversation with your mom who met these women for like an hour, 2 hours. Right. And now you're just going to change everything.
Yeah.
Which he does.
So he goes on his last date with Michelle. They have an outdoor chat. They rappel down a building, which looked really fun to me. And this is where he gets a gift. Amber, tell us about the gift.
So he gets a gift from Michelle that is a basketball jersey, kind of, that says Mr. whatever his last name is. Matt James?
Yeah.
Ah, Mr. James. And which is a play off of when he gave her a gift that said Mrs. James. And she's just so sweet. And she's so excited. And she's talking about how, you know, she's in love with him. And you can just see it on his face.
Okay, and girl brain, if I'm dating someone that gives me something that says Mrs. and their last name, I assume I'm the one, right? Because we were all those single girls that would write our names. Janet McGrew. Oh, that looks so good. If Steve were to write Janet McGrew, I would have been like, oh my God, I'm the one. I'm the one.
Yeah.
So,
but did you ever, every time that this has happened, because this has happened in other episodes, Ben Higgins gave a jersey to somebody. I can't remember who else, but there have been other episodes where somebody has gotten a jersey and that is not the person that they pick.
See, that's bull. That is bull.
I agree.
I hate that.
That's crap.
It got really dark in your room. You got very dark.
Oh, yeah. It's because they don't have the lights on.
Okay.
So the sun is going down.
Sorry. People listening can't see that, but I'm like, you okay?
I'll turn the light on.
No, I think the jersey thing should be banned.
I agree. Stupid.
Yeah, so Matt's acting funky, like you said. And then, bam. Michelle, I can't get there with you. Bye. Like, I'm like,
she's like, what the?
I had to rewind and be like, what?
Yeah.
Did that just happen?
It was so not okay.
Yeah.
And she was just shocked. Do I fight for you? Do I not fight for you? Like, what am I supposed to do here? Poor girl.
And then spiraling Matt, decides to skip the date with Rachel. And if she was already unstable, like, I can't believe she didn't, like, flip. We didn't see her flip.
Well, also, when she opens the door and it's Chris Harrison and she's excited, I'm like, no. Have you been on have you been on the show? No. When Chris Harrison shows up, it's not a good thing.
Right.
But yeah, no, I don't know.
So then he invites her to the lake so they can chat. And all of a sudden, it's the rose ceremony / maybe proposal. And I was like, I didn't get that the lake note meant that it was time for that. Did you?
No. And, well, because I was also confused because in between that, he's, like, picking an engagement ring. So we see, like, Rachel finding out that he's not going to come meet with her. And then he's picking the engagement ring.
But he did
say, I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm going to hold on to this.
Yeah, it holds a lot of weight. Well, no shit, dumbass.
It's a big-ass diamond.
Yeah.
Oh.
And this is what you've been on the show for this entire time.
I took it literal. Don't take it literal.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I loved the setup at the lake. I thought it was very gorgeous. But before we saw the setup of where they were going to be standing and talking, you just see Matt in a tux. And I'm like, is this the proposal?
Yeah.
Is he just going to do it in the leaves? And then you're brought in front of this beautiful outdoor fireplace with all the decorations. And Rachel comes out in this beautiful green gown. It was green, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I think so, yeah.
And I was like, well, here we are. Here we are. What's he going to do? What did you think he was going to do?
I didn't know.
Well,
I had no idea.
There was no proposal, but he promised her that he loved her and saw a life with her.
Yep, and he couldn't imagine his life without her.
Now we go to After the Final Rose, and I have to say Emmanuel Ocho is fantastic. He should host every After the Final Rose.
Yeah, he did a really good job.
Yes. His speech pattern was very similar to Chris Harrison's.
Yeah.
I'm like, is there a class you
what
take?
They get in their training.
Yeah, is there a class you take, like how to speak like Chris Harrison? I was like, his pattern is very similar. Anyway. So we see Michelle first. She's really seeking some closure. Really. She's bummed.
Yeah.
I get it.
She is. Yeah.
And Matt comes out with that beard. Very shimmery. Yeah. Very shimmery.
Very shimmery.
There's got to be some oil, right?
Right? Like, I remembered, have you watched Coming to America, like the original?
No.
Oh, because in Coming to America, there's like a whole thing about like some kind of oil that they put in their hair. And that's all I could think of was this oil in his beard.
I don't like the beard, but I liked the shine of the beard.
See, and I like the beard, but I did not like the shine of the beard. Oh.
So after Michelle kind of does her talking, they bring Matt out. And her greatest issue is the fact that after he said goodbye, she asked to see him one last time for some closure, and he rejected her. And she's like, why? And he apologized for refusing to meet her, and she seemed satisfied with that. It's fine.
Right, which I think we realize later on why it is. But
yes,
she kind of points out that, once I said my piece, like, I'm kind of done. Like, I'm not going to hold on to it. Like, now that we said it, like, I'm just going to let it go. So it wasn't like I was going to try and convince you to take me back. I just wanted closure.
And, the After the Final Rose was very heavy. And I didn't take a lot of notes about the heaviness. And I've already skipped over part of it, how Emmanuel asked Michelle about how she felt about Rachel after the pictures surfaced. You look confused.
Well, I'm not confused. I think it was very heavy, but I think my challenge is that there wasn't enough conversation about it. They made such a big deal, and this was such a controversy. And even when Emmanuel came out, he was like, And of course we have to address Chris Harrison and that controversy, and they never actually addressed it. Mm-mm. And so like they kind of came up in like the context when he was talking to Rachel and when he was talking to Michelle, but I felt like there could have been more conversation. I mean, this was a great opportunity to kind of be on that platform and say, here's how it felt to be a Black woman and hear those things, or here's what it felt like to be a Black man. And I honestly would have liked to have heard what Emmanuel had to say, because he has that, how to have a conversation with a Black person or a Black man. I can't remember the name of the title, but because I have been thinking a lot about it and about the controversy and how they talk about how a lot of people don't understand why Matt is mad, or why what Rachel did is not okay, even though it was 3 years ago. And I've just been thinking a lot about it, and how being a white woman, like, I don't really I understand the concept, but I don't know what it's truly like. And I felt like this was a platform where it really could have been talked about, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So, and there was a lot of silence later that could have been filled with talking.
Right. So then after Matt and Rachel talk, Matt and Michelle talk, then is that when Emmanuel and Matt sat down?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. I didn't write any notes, and I'm sorry about that. Because it was it wasn't a very fruitful conversation.
No. And I think that's where I was also disappointed is, this was an opportunity for Matt to speak out as well. He does admit that him and Rachel are no longer together.
Right.
And that he had to, I don't remember when he admits it, but he talks about how he had to protect himself, and that he understood, or he realized that Rachel would never understand where he was coming from. And so this is why he had to end things. And I really felt like he could have spoken more about it. I think he could have spoken more about why the photo was so impactful to him, and maybe what the conversations were between him and Rachel. I mean, we don't need all the details, but it just wasn't very insightful. Like, there just wasn't a lot of conversation there.
Right. Right. And we can't be frustrated with Matt, because we're not Matt. We're not in his shoes. Right. I found myself being frustrated, and I wanted him to say more, but I don't know that if I were in his shoes, I would have had words. He did post on Instagram several weeks ago that, he's going to have things to say, and he didn't say them, but maybe now is not the time. And I saw a headline today. It was like, was Matt James silenced, or was he being silenced?
Yeah, I think I saw that in a meme too.
No, maybe it was a meme. I don't know. There's so much content.
Because it was, well, and it's piggybacking, which we didn't talk about the Royals and that conversation, because that has been interesting too.
I thought we didn't care about the Royals. I brought it up once, and you were like, I don't care. Royals. I don't care.
I care about the Royals.
I thought we didn't.
I don't know.
We could talk about that before we wrap up. So then Rachel comes out, and in spite of her not being a fan favorite due to the things that surfaced, I feel like she faced the facts. She didn't want to blame anyone. She didn't want to victimize herself. And she admitted she was living in ignorance. And I liked the fact that there was a huge highlight between being a racist and being racially ignorant. Yeah. And I thought she handled herself very well. Could have been media training that she's gone through over the last several weeks. I'm sure that probably played a part in it. But, when you look at Rachel versus a Victoria, two very different people.
Oh, for sure. And Emmanuel, the way that he handled it, like, he handled everything really well, but it was also odd to have him be like calling her ignorant without being rude about being ignorant. Because normally when you hear somebody say you're so ignorant, like, it's such a negative context, but he really was kind of addressing it as what she was saying. Mm-hmm. I wasn't thoughtful of what I was doing at the time. It just didn't think about it.
I didn't think about what the meaning was behind an antebellum party. And I get it. Like, I feel like we do stuff like that all the time. And things are changing where you have to think about it.
Yeah. And I think that's why I wanted more conversation, is because Rachel's point was exactly what, the POC, the people of color, are trying to get out there, is saying, that's the point, is you don't think about this, but all of the rest of us that have to deal with this on a regular basis, we do think about it. Mm-hmm. So think about how those choices impact us, because even if you didn't mean it that way, that's how it's perceived. And you're supporting something that affected our history or us individually. And so I think that's why I wanted a little bit more conversation, is because I think it would have been really good to hear more of her side and what she has been doing, which I didn't like that again, like you said, we can't be frustrated. We're not them. So the fact that she didn't elaborate on things, but he was like, well, what are you doing? And instead she was like, well, I could name off all these things that I'm doing, but I'm not going to. And while I understood her point, I also wish she would have shared it, because it could have been helpful. I think that is some things that, like Hannah Brown, when she, made the error that she did, she came out and was like, I'm listening to this podcast. Like, she shared things from Instagram pages. She made the effort showing that this is what I'm doing and this is what you could do too to understand better. So it would have been nice if
maybe ABC didn't want her to promote anything.
That could be too. Yeah.
That's horrible, but
I know.
TV isn't transparent.
Yep.
And then we have Matt and Rachel who come together, and it's the first time seeing each other after they broke up. And they just both look miserable.
Yeah, they look miserable. They're trying to talk on if there's ever going to be another chance and like how things heard. And she apologized. And going back to it, despite all the things that went on, like, I appreciate that she apologized and acted appropriately regarding her actions. It did look like it was extremely hard for them. I don't know.
Right. And then that's where Matt kind of stopped talking.
Yeah, like literally.
Long pause, go to commercial break, and I'm thinking, okay, we're going to come back from the commercial break and get some answers. Nothing. Nope. And even when Emmanuel asked them to embrace one last time, no.
Yeah, I know. It was, like you said, like it's hard not to be frustrated. But then at some point I was like, okay, if you're not going to talk, I feel like maybe we could fast forward and talk about something else. Like who knows what got cut out, so we could sit there and watch him be silent as the producers tried to make whatever point they were trying to make with that silence.
Right. Coming into this season of The Bachelor, I was very excited. Matt James hadn't been on a season, and he did so well.
He did.
But my biggest critique are the things that got cut out and the messages that weren't able to be told.
Yeah, I think that it just wasn't, it was hard because like you said, I was excited for Matt James. I was excited for the different diversity that we were seeing in the women that were there. It wasn't just the model-looking white women with blonde hair named Lauren. Mm-hmm. So I was excited for all of that, and I did appreciate the way that Matt handled a lot of things. But yeah, there was so much. Eventually, I just got tired of watching it. Every time I had to watch it, I was just sad because I knew that I was going to have to watch whatever drama was going to unfold that the producers wanted us to see.
Right.
So.
But then we got some good news.
We did.
We're not going to have
the Bachelorette.
Yeah, we're not going to have just one. We're going to have 2 Bachelorettes in the next year. One this spring. Katie Thurston will be this spring, and then one next fall.
Summer.
What?
Yeah, I think she's doing summer, isn't she? Doesn't hers air in the summer and then Michelle airs in the fall?
Hold on.
Or am I wrong?
I don't know.
I don't think they're doing Bachelor in Paradise.
See, I'm kind of bummed about that.
So I think Katie is
this spring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Katie Thurston, who's the 29-year-old bank manager from Renton, Washington, will star on season 17 of The Bachelorette this spring. And then Michelle Young will star on season 18 of The Bachelorette, which will premiere in the fall. So maybe they'll do Bachelor in Paradise.
I'm excited.
You think they'll do Bachelor in Paradise? Has anyone said there's no Bachelor in Paradise?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I thought I heard where the first Bachelorette will be filmed, but I can't remember now that I'm sitting here. Have you heard anything?
No, and I just switched to looking up Bachelor in Paradise stuff, which I do have some little tidbits there, but I don't remember where they said it was going to be.
Yeah. Which it doesn't matter. Oh, New Mexico. Ah.
Oh, there you go.
It'll begin later this month in New Mexico. I wonder if they're going to stay in New Mexico, if they're going to travel. Like, life is kind of evolving, right?
Yeah.
They could go to Texas and Mississippi, right?
This is true. They could.
Oh, don't say anything. I'm sorry. That was not good. Okay. Did you find anything on Bachelor in Paradise?
So I did and I didn't. So I don't know. I forgot about this. JoJo and Jordan are going to be hosting kind of like it's basically Bachelor in Paradise with divorcees. So it's people who have been divorced and they're coming together to be on this like reality show. Bachelor in Paradise is happening and one contestant has already been cast. So Bachelor in Paradise 2021 will happen according to Reality Steve, who is right literally 75. Like 99% of the time.
Okay. 99.
I don't know. I make up numbers. I'm not good at numbers. I don't see, let's see. And it will air between Katie and Michelle's seasons of The Bachelorette. And I'm trying to see if they tell us who the first person is, or who's even going to be hosting it. And it doesn't say anything. I'm not seeing nothing.
We're probably not going to see anything since Katie's season is going to air before it. We're not going to see much because they don't want to overshadow The Bachelorette.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
Yeah. But it's exciting. Oh.
ABC executive Robert Mills confirmed that Dr. Joe Park, a contestant
Dr. Joe!
from Tayshia and Claire's season of The Bachelorette, was one of the first Bachelor Nation members cast for Bachelor in Paradise 2021.
I like Dr. Joe. He's going to be on a flag football team with Peter.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care.
Sweet.
Yeah, you don't care. It's fine.
Joe is receiving his vaccination. He's an anesthesiologist and was eliminated in the top 16, but was a fan's favorite.
He was. He was funny, smart. He's good looking in some people's lenses.
Yeah. I don't personally remember him at this moment in time.
Dr. Joe! You Google that stuff right now.
I am right now.
Not grocery store Joe. Dr. Joe, Bachelorette.
FYI, there is another man named Dr. Joseph Lewis Clark who was born on May 8th, 1938 in Rochelle, Georgia. He's a former principal of East Side High School.
There we go.
That is not him.
No. Did you find Dr. Joe?
Not yet.
Okay. No?
No.
Okay. Anyway.
Dr. Joe. He is Asian American.
Yes. So, what are you watching? What are you listening to? What are you reading?
So, I am very excited that Masked Singer is on. And I have not started watching anything new outside of that. But there are a ton of new ABC shows. I think they're ABC shows coming out on April 1st. Like one of them is called Moody, and it has Alyssa Milano in it. And so I'm really excited to see that because I love Alyssa Milano, and I think it looks a little funny. And then at least I think it's ABC that is coming out with these shows. There's 2 other ones too, and I wish I would have written them down, and I didn't. But there's some new shows coming out on April 1st, so I will for sure have some after that. And as far as reading, I am currently still listening to oh shoot, I'm getting it mixed up now. Missing Child, or One Missing Child, and it is really good. I am finding myself very invested. It is a story about 5 children at the age of 3 that go missing. And 3.5 years later, all of the children are returned except for one. And the one who is not returned is the grandchild of a detective. And so it's kind of the story about her trying to figure out what happened. But there's just so many storylines and interesting details. I'm kind of loving it, but I also find myself really invested in the characters and like whether I care for them or hate them. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I felt like that about a book, and this is a 3-book series, so I'm very excited about it.
Awesome.
Yeah. How about you?
Unlike you, I watched a lot this weekend. I binged the entire 10 episodes of Ginny and Georgia on Netflix. And I highly recommend it. Ginny Miller is an angsty 15-year-old girl, often who feels more mature than her 30-year-old mother. And it's just a fantastic, fantastic show. Yeah, Ginny and Georgia.
Very nice.
Good Girls is a show that I've talked about before, and they dropped their latest season, and I binged the heck out of that. I binged, since we spoke last, the entire Tom Brown's Body podcast.
Oh, did you?
You recommended that, and I second that. That's why I punch mics.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I've been doing. Haven't read anything. Yeah, I'm kind of a loser.
No. Do you have any new music or anything that you've been listening to?
Yes. So the Marfa tapes, it's a collaboration between Jack Ingram, John Randall, and Miranda Lambert. I saved her name for last just so you wouldn't roll your eyes. I guess what they did is they went out into the middle of nowhere, Texas, and just recorded these songs. Like, you hear cows mooing. You hear, like, nature. It's, like, not produced at all. They've dropped 2 of the 15 songs. One is In His Arms, and the other is Tin Man, which Miranda wrote with Jack Ingram.
Oh, yes.
So it's like the raw version. So 2 of the songs have been dropped, and then the others, I'm not sure when they're coming, but I think within the next month. So the Marfa tapes.
Very nice.
And you, what you listen to?
So I don't think it's anything new, to be honest. But, like, I have been in love with the Keith Urban and Pink song, One Too Many.
Yes.
And I have been listening to that a lot. And there is a song that was written for Brittany Crosby, the woman that I know that passed away from ovarian cancer. And this is a song that has been kind of hitting my music when I put it on random quite often. And it's called Thank You, Jesus. And it's by Sidewalk Prophets. And I love it. I think it's one of the only songs that the minute I hear it, I kind of stop and do whatever I'm doing and take a moment to kind of just sit there and listen to the words and really feel the message that's there, and remember all the things that it says. So I've been listening to that song a lot too. And Little Bit by Nelly and Florida Georgia Line.
I love that song.
I don't know when it came out, but like I have all these songs on my music thing, and I'm finding that I really love a lot of them that I haven't listened to.
Yes, I because I love Nelly and I love Florida Georgia Line. Sorry. I just started playing it. As soon as I saw, because I think I still follow Tyler Hubbard from Florida Georgia Line on Instagram. I saw he dropped the, hey, we have a new song with Nelly. And I was like, what? It is like
it's
my
really good.
Friday anthem.
Yeah.
5 o'clock on Friday.
Is, like, upbeat.
Yes. Yes. Love it. Well, do you have your wine tip?
I do. Well, yes. Let me bring it up. So this is from an article that was released. Oh, got it. I was looking at the wrong date. I was like, that's today. I saved this a week ago. Okay. So it was released in August of 2020. And it's by Newsweek. It's called The 30 Fascinating Facts About Wine That You Never Knew. So I'm just going to like randomly like scroll and just choose one.
Go for it.
So wine fact 10. Wine tasters swirl the wine in their glasses to release its aromas. They don't also fill the glass more than a third full to leave a space where these aromas can collect. So that was not as much fun as some of the other fascinating facts on here, but that's all we have for today.
Well, I'm going to leave us with a positive Polly from Coco Chanel. Beauty begins the moment you decide to be yourself.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. It's going to be several weeks before we're back. But we'll be back in April. And feel free to reach out to us. We're active on Instagram, Facebook, our email. All the information is down below in the comments, or not comments, in the notes. And thank you guys so much for listening. Bye.
Bye.